I built a new legacy house, but I kind of ran out of money about 2/3 of the way through. So it is currently a little bit less furnished than I would have liked. I think I was just a little bit too ambitious when I was building the shell, and it ended up a little bit too big for the budget that we had. But that's okay because my Sims make a lot of money, so I think we should be able to finish it soon. We just can't finish it yet. There are a couple rooms that I planned for, like a gym and an office and an art studio, that I just didn't have any money to put any furniture in, so they're currently completely empty. And this is kind of a weird state for me to post a speed build. Like, I would normally never post it before it was done, but this is just the reality of my gameplay right now, so I'm gonna show you what we're working with. The plan is for us to move to Sulani because right now my Sims are living in Mount Komorebi in this like really fancy residential rental on the mountain, and I thought it would be kind of fun for us to do something completely opposite for the new house. And I think a waterfront property on an island is probably as far opposite from the peak of a mountain as you can get. So we're gonna build it on this giant lot called Sapphire Shores. This lot's kind of cool because there's a little bit of beach, but it's mostly on the water. So our house is gonna be on stilts and mostly over the ocean. And there's also a couple of weird requirements for a house like this. For example, you cannot put a pool here. It doesn't let you build below ground on waterfront lots. So we can't have a pool, we can't have a basement. We also obviously don't have much land, so we don't have a lot of yard space to work with, but I am up for the challenge of trying to make this work. I'm gonna give us about 120,000 simoleons to start with, and I'm warning you now, that is not really gonna go very far. But with that being said, let's jump straight into the speed build portion of the video, and I'll kind of walk you through what we built and how we built it. And I should warn you, I was being so annoying about this build. I think I am a little bit indecisive on a good day, and I'm an overthinker on a good day, and for some reason, with my legacy builds in particular, I am like indecisive and an overthinker to the max. Like, I was really worried about wanting this to turn out well. I care about these Sims a lot and I want their house to be perfect. And so this took me a long time and a lot of effort. And I'm really sad that it's not like fully finished right now. But you know what? Also, a part of me is a little bit excited that I kind of have something to work towards, like something to work my way up to trying to finish, because it feels a little bit more like early days of a legacy. Because recently I've just had loads of money. Like, I've had no money struggles at all. And so right now, having some money struggles again is sort of intriguing to me. Like, I kind of want my Sims to suffer a little bit. So it's not all bad. I'm kind of looking forward to trying to build this out over time, I think. But sort of my plan for this house was to have something slightly Cape Cod inspired. I wanted a little bit more of like a traditional style house. I didn't want to build like a big modern glass cube or anything like that. I did think about it. I had a few different inspiration ideas and like reference photos that I was pulling from, but I settled more on something like this because this is more like my personal style. I just made sure to make it not a blue Suburban. That was like the only goal. Traditional looking Cape Cod build, but not blue is what I wanted. A couple of my priorities were to have a lot of balconies. I wanted a lot of outdoor space and a lot of balcony space on this building. I wanted there to be a third floor as well, which maybe in hindsight was a mistake because we don't have a lot of space for it. I also wanted a lot of bedrooms because right now, and I'll give you like a little bit of an introduction into The Sims. It's okay if you haven't seen the Legacy series or anything. I fully expect that most people watching this haven't seen the Legacy series, so don't worry about that. But right now in our current house, we have the parents living there. We have a robot named Nina. We have a pet. I have my next Legacy heir named Jingle. I have her imaginary friend who's now a human, and we also have her little brother. So we have 7 Sims living in this house. We need a lot of bedrooms in this space, especially because in the future, I'm gonna wanna have kids, right? Granted, we're gonna have to get some people out of here first before we can have kids, but I'm gonna need room for those. So I wanted to have a lot of bedrooms. I also wanted to have a lot of skill building type space because my Sim Nina the robot, she's very into a lot of different hobbies. She likes nectar making, she likes cooking, she likes robotics. My Sims are into music and painting, and so we have like reason to have a lot of things. So I wanted a gym, I wanted the art studio, I wanted to have an office space so we can put a computer in there. I kind of wanted to have like a games room upstairs. And all of a sudden we have no money left. Oh, also a rocket ship. Nina is currently an astronaut. The robot's an astronaut. And so I wanted to have a rocket. I put it on the roof. That was a bold choice. I think that that's fun though. So her rocket's gonna go on her big balcony off of her upstairs apartment area. But seriously, I cannot emphasize enough how unfurnished Nina's apartment space is. I've got this super cool 3rd story area for like a bedroom and then the like living space games room. There's nothing in there. It's gonna be so empty in the end, but I'm gonna finish it. I just need to do some earning first. We got big plans for the future and you'll kind of see it start to come together. I definitely spent way too much money on like fences and balconies and stuff, but I think it was worth it because I like the style of the house a lot and like the vibes of the house a lot, but I should have paced myself better because even right now we have 70,000 simoleons left and I haven't put a single piece of furniture in. So like, hello, you should have known, Kayla. There were signs all along about us running out of money, and yet here we are. But I actually built this live over on my Twitch channel first. And weirdly, I didn't build the whole thing live. I only built like, I was gonna say I only built most of it live. I built almost all of this on stream. And then I decided to finish it off stream because that's when I was sort of completely out of money. And also I was like really struggling and I just needed to like stare at it for a long time. And I didn't want the chat to have to watch me do that. So there's like 3.5 hours of it streamed, and then the rest of it is only here in this video, which is very rare for me, so I apologize. My chat keeps being like, Kayla, when are you gonna finish the legacy house? And I'm like, I did already. I'm sorry, I did it without you. So you wanted to watch that back, like the real-time live stream part of this, I'll link it down below. I post all of my streams on my second channel called More Simsie, so the whole thing is already there up if you wanted to watch that back. Just know that it's like 3.5 hours of me being really indecisive, like really, really indecisive. Now, in terms of color scheme, the sim that's going to live here is named Flame. To give you a little bit more context, her mom was named Jingle. Their last name is Bell, so she was Jingle Bell, and her dad was Santa. And I had Jingle Bell become a fairy, and she lived in Mount Komorebi because I was trying to have her be like a pretend ice fairy sort of. So we had this house on the mountain in Mount Komorebi. It's been snowing nonstop for months in game. Like we haven't had any bit of sun or like grass this entire time. And so I kind of thought it'd be fun to have her kid have the complete opposite situation. So I named her Flame Bell, kind of like flammable. I like to have like sort of silly meme type names in my legacy and have those sims become the heir. So I had like Pepper Bell once and she was a chef. I had Terry Bell and she was a criminal. And now we have Flame Bell who's gonna run a restaurant. I actually already built that too. It's like a dine out restaurant. It's in this world, but I built the restaurant at the base of the volcano in Sulani, and now we're gonna live over here. My initial plan was to have Flame live on the volcano, but that lot's only 30 by 20. And as you can see, the house that I have built simply would not have worked up there. So we're gonna have Volcano Pizza as our restaurant, and then we'll live here on a slightly larger lot with some more space to spread out. I'm hoping this dine out plan actually goes according to plan and like works well, but I haven't run a restaurant in my legacy ever. Like I've never had any of those sims own a restaurant building. So I'm pretty curious to test it out and like see how we feel about it. I'm hoping that it works well and like everything's fine, but I'll keep you posted on that. I'll let you know how that goes. My backup plan is to make it a small business venue and then use it to like sell pizza that I'm making with the pizza oven. So we're still gonna have a restaurant no matter what. It just, you know, depending on how it goes, will be a couple different types of restaurants, I guess. Now, at this point of the video, you're gonna watch me do the same thing over and over because I could not decide if I wanted it to be medium wall height or short wall height. Currently I have the base level, the first floor is medium wall height, and then I kept going back and forth because I love the ground floor being taller. I think it looks so nice, but I was struggling a lot with the windows and the doors because I wanted to have matching sliding doors like stacked up, and there's a big wide one from the base game and there's a bunch of big wide ones from Eco Lifestyle. They do not have the same swatches. So there's no like big wide short wall height one from the base game. There's just one from Eco Lifestyle, and the Eco Lifestyle one is like all white, and then it has like a very light colored wood interior trim, and the base game one is all white but sort of like a grayish toned white. It almost looks like a plastic white, and the eco one looks like a wooden white, so they're very different looking. And I guess from afar you probably can't tell, but when I was staring at it, it was making me so mad. So I kept like changing my mind back and forth on what height the walls should be. I actually ended up switching them back to being short wall height at the end when I was recording this on my own, like off stream. And so you're gonna see it medium for a long time, and then I changed my mind. I apologize. I really tried. The door thing. And then I wanted to have the front doors match, and there's like no big wide medium sized front doors that I liked that fit the style, so I just couldn't do it. I was trying to use Seasons windows, and the Seasons windows did not look good on short wall height, like the doors at least. I mean, it was very annoying to me. This is the indecision coming in. This is what I'm talking about. This is me being so ridiculous because honestly, like probably nobody else noticed or could even tell. Like everybody else is like, yeah, it's fine, you know, it's the best door for the options that we have, like just use whatever. For me though, it was like the end of the world, this door problem. But it just feels so so silly, like trying to explain myself and my stress about it when it's not that deep. Like it's really totally fine. This next part we're doing is the landscaping. Obviously we don't have that much landscaping here because there isn't any landscaping in the backyard because there is no backyard, but I went overboard with the front yard. I put a lot of plants in the front. I think this is sort of the beauty of playing in Sulani, is getting to use this kind of landscaping because I love all this tropical stuff they have. It's so pretty. So I've got a lot of palm trees. I have a lot of floral stuff. There's lots of orange flowers to try and fit that like flame theme. I kind of wanted to have a lot of like vibrant colors outside. At least I tried to. And then I used like shingles as the wallpaper. You'll see me go back and forth with that as well. I was being so indecisive about the wallpaper too. And then on the interior, we'll have sort of a similar battle where I wanted to use like some bright oranges, but I was struggling a lot with how bright I wanted it to be because I wanted it to be colorful, but I didn't want it to be neon. And it's like a fine line that you're trying to walk with the colorful versus neon thing. So I spent a long time trying to pick like rugs and what color should I pair together because it's just a little bit out of my comfort zone, this sort of color scheme. I don't use a lot of orange. I don't use a lot of red. I don't like orange or red much in real life, so it was kind of hard for me to do. Anyway, I'll get to that a little bit more once we get to the actual inside of the house because right now we're talking more about the exterior. This is me trying to go through debug now to start finding some more landscaping. What I was doing first was kind of putting a bunch of those low-lying bushes to fill in where I wanted to put plants. And then I started going back in and layering more bigger plants, starting with the big orange trees. And then I found a couple jungle adventure plants to use. I was looking at debug from Island Living to get a couple more. There's some really nice debug landscaping in Island Living's catalog. That's like where the Monstera plants came from. The only problem with the debug landscaping is that it doesn't let you place it super close to the foundation. All landscaping used to be like that, but they changed it in an update a few years ago. So now you can kind of scoot things slightly under foundations, which is great. Especially with this kind of stilted foundation, I kind of want it to be like just slightly under there. Not all the way because it wouldn't grow in the dark, but like just slightly and not like, you know, this far away from it would be terrible. But all the debug landscaping still jumps to foundation height. And normally my advice to you to fix that would be to just remove the foundation temporarily, scoot things closer, and then put the foundation back. But you can't do that on this kind of lot. You have to have a foundation on beach lots. It's the only way that you can place buildings down. So it's not really as fixable as it normally would be. So I was trying to be a little bit careful about where I put those Monstera plants because I didn't want them to be like floating or like in the sky. So they're kind of just slightly there on the edge. You know, in hindsight, I probably spent a little bit too much money on the landscaping because I used a lot of like paid for landscaping, but it's fine. The debug stuff was hard to use or even impossible with how I wanted it to be, so it had to be done. Oh, I also tried briefly there to see if I could put curved stairs in the front, and I can't. I think that it is possible to have curved stairs that are small, but it's not possible to have curved stairs here. It was giving me all of these errors, like you cannot have curved stairs with the terrain. So I think because of the beachfront lot, it wouldn't let me curve them. But there's a bunch of weird little things that you can't do on beachfront lots, and I guess rounded stairs on the exterior are one of them. It would let me do it inside. It's just like the ground being the way that it is. It's like how basements aren't allowed, you know, it's just a weird spot to build sometimes. I'm starting to do all of the wallpaper now, finally. We had some earlier that I changed my mind about, and now I'm putting some back in. What I wanted was to have paneling on the base level and then shingles on the top floor. I really wanted to have shingles on the wall. This was like very important to me for the style that I was trying to do. And then I wanted to have a tiny bit of stone accent, so I tried to mix and match a few. Right now, I'm using just like a beige, and it was boring. I didn't like it. I wanted it to be more orange and like a little bit more vibrant. I tried a couple of options. There's like some orange stucco that I was trying to look at, but none of that was really working for me. And what I ended up settling on instead was actually just the growing together shingles and then wallpaper from Adventure Awaits. It's an Adventure Awaits like wall paneling wall. Wall paneling wall is the worst way of putting that, but they have a very similar color scheme. So I use those on the outside. It's not really orange, but it is kind of like an orangey toned wood. So it has like a little bit more warmth to it, and I thought that was a bit better. I think it looks really nice with the orange plants in the front yard. I also have kind of a mixture of foundations. I used a mix of the stone foundation from Growing Together and then also some of the stilt foundations. I wanted to have something a little bit more solid, but I put stilts underneath all of the balcony parts and like underneath the decking in the back. And now we are finally starting to work on the floor plan inside. Step one, I put some stairs in. I think that's a pro tip I could maybe offer you as well. I always like to put the stairs in first because once I have the stairs it makes it easier for me to try and visualize where everything else is gonna go and like where the hallways are gonna go and stuff. But I wanted to have this big open 2-story entryway. It feels very grand, which is appropriate for a house like this. And then I wanted to have as many bedrooms as possible. So I tried to fit in a lot of bedrooms upstairs. There's gonna be a little bit of trial and error with all of this, which you'll see it kind of come together. And then I also need to put in a staircase for the 3rd floor, which this first iteration of the floor plan I had forgotten about. So I like deleted it all and then went back and did it again. But the upstairs, that 3rd story is actually very big. So I wanted to make sure we had like a full staircase access to it. Oftentimes when I'm struggling like this with floor plans, people will recommend that I put like a ladder instead of the staircase up to those spaces. But I really prefer to have a full staircase when I can for this kind of thing. If I want it to be like a playroom and the robot's bedroom, like fancy space, I don't really want to have only a ladder. I'd rather have like a normal staircase going up to it. So I really tried to prioritize putting one of those in, even though it kind of threw off my floor plan. It also made the roof start doing this kind of weird glitch on the 2nd floor, but I just blocked it off so I didn't have to look at it anymore. Or I guess it was on the 3rd floor. Oh my goodness, this house is so big. Why did I do this? If I had made it like half the size, it still would have been fine and it would have been fully furnished. And yet here we are, looking at this instead. We are now halfway through the video. I have 52,000 simoleons left. I haven't placed a single piece of furniture in the building. Oh my God. This is like a failure. It's a failure on my part. Well, I have a couple of life updates for you because I feel like I haven't talked to you all much about nothing in a while because I didn't post a speed build last week or the week before, I don't remember. But I've been talking a lot about Snap, my cat, and like her health stuff, so I just wanted to give you like a tiny update. It's not a bad update. You might remember that she had to wear the cone because she had that weird lump up here and stuff. She is not currently in the cone. She stopped messing with it and it's starting to heal a little bit, so she doesn't have to wear the cone right now, and that is a huge thing. We're still kind of waiting to see if it heals up more. It's like a weird cancerous mass on her side and she's very old and already very sick, so it's kind of like I don't know if we should operate on this thing kind of situation, but it is looking significantly better. So I just wanted to give you that like positive update because I know a lot of people are worried about her, so I'm sorry that I didn't like mention it in a video sooner. But she is coneless again, which she is certainly very happy about. My other 2 cats are also doing very well. They're fine. They don't have any problems like Sap does. My other 2 cats, I call them the kittens. They're actually almost 3 years old, but they're fine. Like all is well with them too, obviously. I've also been very sick for the last week or so, which has been very unpleasant. I didn't stream for like 3 days. I missed an upload, which I didn't want to do, but I could not record. I felt horrible. I feel a little bit better today, but if I disappear again for a day, it's probably that. Just so you know. I've just not been like doing so hot recently. Fortunately, I'm usually a few days ahead with videos, so like I only missed the 1 video, but yeah, anyway, that sucks. I guess those are my major updates though. Cat's still sick, I'm sick, things are weird around these parts right now. Oh look, this is like the wishful thinking segment of the video where I thought that I was gonna put in laundry and I was like placing down a treadmill and I was placing down stuff for pottery. I was doing that at this point because I thought it was kind of helpful for me to visualize the floor plan a bit more, to be like, okay, treadmill in that room, that's the gym, so I could like see if it all worked and if it all fit well. But I had to delete those things, like the treadmill, the pottery stuff, and the computer, gone. I don't even have a single one in the finished build. Oh my God. There's more furniture in those rooms right now than there is in the end. Isn't that awful? The rest of it will have furniture though, I swear. I'm starting in the living room because that rug was like my whole inspiration for the build. I saw that rug and I was like, yep, this is what I want. So I was gonna try and base the whole color scheme off of that. I wanted to have like the orange, the reddish color, the yellow, the pinks, like I wanted to bring all of those things in. So it really isn't like a neon color scheme. It is kind of like a pastel almost in some ways. For a little while, I was trying to use this really bright orange base game rug because it looks like fire to me, but I'm gonna be honest, I got rid of it. I did not end up sticking with that rug. I thought it was too bright and it was like throwing off the color scheme that I wanted. But what we have is like the living room in that far left corner. There's a dining table next to it. There's a big hallway, and then at the end of the hallway is the kitchen and a breakfast nook. So that's kind of like the main living space layout. I also put a bar in. We have a piano because my sim Jingle, she writes jingles for a living. So she needs a piano so that she can use that. We do have all of that stuff. Anything necessary for actual life functionality, we do have. And like the living space is fully furnished. It's just some of the other bonus spaces that we don't have furniture in. I also added a couple of lot traits. I wanted to use the volcanic activity lot challenge because the volcano was sort of the whole inspiration behind this build. So I wanted to try and use that. Luckily, we have a lot of family photos, so I did not have to pay for a lot of artwork on the walls. So you're gonna see a bunch of empty photo frames getting added in here, maybe even an excessive amount of empty photo frames, but I love taking pictures of my Sims. It's like my favorite thing to have like a history of family photos. So I wanted to give myself a lot of space to have those things hung up in here. So I put a lot of them around in like basically anywhere I could fit them. I probably wouldn't do that in a non-legacy build. Like it's rare for me to put just empty frames up when I'm building something just because I wanted to build. But in this case, for these particular Sims, I felt like I needed to have a lot of photo frames. Also, we have 26,000 simoleons left. I ended up giving myself like an extra 20K or something because I always, when I'm starting a legacy build, I always give myself less money than I know I actually have. Like if I had 150,000 simoleons, I might give myself 130,000 to start when I'm building, knowing that I could add more money to the budget if I need to, because I usually build this in a separate save and then like move it back into the legacy save after. So it's not actually my Sims money. It's like me knowing how much money they have and then using it up, if that makes sense. But I usually give myself a lower budget because I know myself and I tend to do things like this where I'm a little bit too ambitious. So I like to give myself some wiggle room. So that way I try to furnish the house with less money. And then if I have to add it back in, I know that I've got some space to do so. Perhaps one of the dumbest things that I did is put one of the most expensive TVs in the game in the living room. When I move in, I think what I'm gonna do is probably delete a bunch of stuff. Like I'll delete the TV, I'll delete the fridge, and then I'll bring my own when I move, because then I can pay a little bit less money for it, because your items depreciate in value. So if I sell it and then buy a new fridge, I've lost money. But if I just bring my fridge with me, I can save like probably 1,000 simoleons. So I'm gonna have to do that because we're in a pretty dire situation. I also might see if I can bring some of my patio furniture because I don't have much to work with there either. But I'm gonna stop talking about those things and stop complaining because I wanna start putting out what I do have. So in this living room, I really liked how it laid out with like the couches and like the pretty plant next to it. I feel pretty good about that. I'm just not sure about the rug. So we're gonna have to change that later on. The kitchen is absolutely enormous. It's like this giant space. I've got a huge island right in the middle of it. And I was trying to decide what kind of counters I wanted to use. I was going back and forth on a lot on this. I started with the island living ones because I wanted to use them from the pack that we're building with. But then I didn't really like how they don't have an upper cabinet that matches. I was trying to maybe use a different set upper cabinet. Then I switched to Dream Home Decorator cabinets, used those for a bit, didn't really like them. And then I kept the island in the middle from Island Living because it's got like the cool waterfall edge. And then I ended up going all the way back to Island Living cabinets, but still using Dream Home Decorator upper cabinets. So we've kind of got like this two-toned mix with the wood lower cabinets and the white upper cabinets. I think that's very trendy. I feel like you see that happen a lot in real life, like magazine type houses, but I don't really do that very often in The Sims because I'm not a huge fan of two-tone cabinets. I don't know if this is controversial, but when I see it in like a picture in real life, I usually don't like it very much. I don't want to say I always don't like it because that's not fair or true, but it's just like, I wouldn't pick this. Like, I don't know if I'm a fan of the two-tone cabinet thing, but I wanted to try it in this house, partially because there's no matching cabinets. So that was the inspo behind it, but I think that it's cool. So I did that in the kitchen. We've got like a fun peachy tile, and thankfully we have a lot of space. There's a lot of room to like have a gourmet chef's kitchen in here, which makes sense given our Sim wanting to run a restaurant. I think it's also nice to have the two dining tables. We don't really need to have two dining tables, but I think it is realistic to have like a breakfast nook and a proper dining room. In terms of bathrooms, there is a downstairs bathroom and a downstairs laundry room, and then upstairs I think there's 3 more bathrooms. There is not a bathroom on the 3rd floor because my robot's gonna live up there, and robots don't need to use a bathroom. In fact, it's actually advisable for robots to not use a bathroom because the shower can kill them. So I did not give Nina a bathroom. I don't want her going anywhere near that stuff. I am a little bit worried about living in Sulani with Nina again because it rains a lot here, and the rain is dangerous business for servos in The Sims 4, but I'm hoping that things are gonna be okay. I might have to lock lock her inside, which we'll see. If that happens, that happens. I can just lock the doors. I'm also considering adding covered walkways outside. You might have seen earlier in the back, there's like a dock that goes out to a covered like pergola thing. I want to have an outdoor kitchen and like bar and grill back there. I don't have one yet, but I will have one. But if I need to put a cover over that, I will. I can just make it so that Nina can't get touched by the rain if we need to. One thing I wasn't super sure about in that hallway, I kind of went back and forth on what to put in the hallway. I thought about doing bookshelves, thought about doing art, I thought about doing photo frames. I kind of tried all three, and what I settled on for the hallway is like a big long line of like console table and then some family photos above it. So we've got a lot of space like that. So we've got a lot of space for photos. I'm gonna probably have space for all of mine and some room to grow, which is good. I've been out of space for photos in my current house for a little while. And then I also put a fireplace in here. I wasn't sure if I should because it is a beach house, but also there, like I live in Florida and there's fireplaces here in some people's houses. So it's like not that out of the ordinary. And the sim who lives here is named Flame. Like you kind of need to have a fireplace for a sim named Flame. So I put one and it matched, so it worked out nicely. This is that finished product for the hallway. It's a lot of photos, but this is like the medium wall height version. I think when I made it short wall height, I have less photos because I kind of shrunk it a little bit. So don't panic. It's not as bad as it seems. And I think at this point, we're kind of nearing the end of the live streamed segment of the build. And the rest of it is what I finished on my own. Not streamed, but still recorded. There was a lot of back and forth for me with this, so I'm kind of curious to see what all I did and like what all I recorded, because I think some parts of it I didn't even record, so I'll have to show you that in the tour at the end. But that was me doing the bathroom downstairs. We're kind of going upstairs now and starting to think about this space. I've also just changed a few things. Like I swapped out the rugs, I swapped out some swatches. I'm thinking about trying to use this like avocado shaped rug in the dining room. I tried that for a while and then I thought, you know what, this is way too orange. I have to get rid of it. But I think that layout with those rugs is kind of more what I wanted to stick to. Now I'm going upstairs to start working on Flame's room. This is gonna be the primary bedroom. I picked this as the primary bedroom because it's got a balcony and also an ensuite bathroom. So I tried to have it be like this kind of orange and yellow color scheme. And then the room next to it is gonna belong to Flame's imaginary friend, who is now a human named Randy. Flame and Randy are gonna be like platonic life partners and live together and raise kids together, but not in a romantic way. So they're kind of, I guess it's kind of like two primary bedrooms, but Randy's is like a little bit less fancy because Randy is an imaginary friend and doesn't need to have the nicest room ever. It's still a nice room, but like, you know, Flame is objectively more important than the imaginary friend. We can't just be giving everything to those people. They're scary. Oh, this is me shrinking the entire house. Oh, this is like a big change. So I was thinking, you know what? It's too big. I need money back. I'm gonna make the entire thing one tile smaller. So I did that, but then it messed with the roof a little bit. So I had to have this like overhang with the roof. Oh my gosh. I'll show you at the end. But this was a big decision to shrink the whole place, and I think I'm glad that I did it. I think it was worth it. The hallway is skinnier, the whole house is skinnier, and this also resulted in me deciding to make the place short wall height instead, and I think that was a good call too. I think it looks more finished and like more full with the walls being a little bit smaller. But just imagine, like if you want to know what it was like me recording this part of the build, picture me at my desk listening to an audiobook. I'm staring at the screen like this, like just so stressed. Being so indecisive for way too long. It's a short part of the build, but it was a long time in real life, let me tell you. Anyway, I went back and forth a lot on Flame's room too. I was like trying to have these yellow colors. I wanted to have the bed from Island Living, but it was kind of expensive. Flame's current room is like very vibrant and like she was a teenager recently, so it's like covered in posters and stuff. So it just feels like a big change to move her into this house and not have those things anymore, especially because I can't really afford them. The whole video is just me being like, I want this thing, but I can't have it. Anyway, I did what I could with Flame's room. I think it looks nice, and I'm really excited about the rug that I was using. It's a Discover University rug that I put in there, and I think it looks really pretty. So I kept that. Upstairs in the hallway, honestly, it's mostly just like filler stuff. I have like some bookshelves. I put up a little bit more of those fake frames because they're free and I can put family photos in them. I was trying to get some curtains, you know, that kind of stuff added in. At least hallways, it's like kind of fine if they don't have a ton of stuff in them. So I did that. I used the same rug that I had downstairs because I love the color scheme of it so much. So I wanted to have more of it. Upstairs on the third floor, this is gonna be eventually that games room that I was telling you about. So I put in a foosball. Nope, that's not foosball, that's ping pong. I put in a ping pong table video. And then the room next to it is gonna be the robot's bedroom. So she has a bed and a robotics machine. And then I decided, because I just made a whole video where I decorated a bedroom for Cole, who is Flame's younger brother. Cole, get it? Like, cause his grandpa is Santa, so his name is Cole. Anyway, I actually took that room off the gallery that I already built, and I just took a bunch of stuff out of it and then put it in there. So that's what that room that just like appeared looks like. And then this room is the imaginary friend's bedroom. I tried to have kind of like a rainbow color scheme, but like subtle. Like a subtle rainbow color scheme. I was trying the rainbow bed at first, did not like it. Settled for a different bed, but like a more vibrant rug instead. And I think that was kind of a cool choice. This room also has an ensuite bathroom. It's through that door next to the bed, but I did not pay for a toilet or anything yet. I'm gonna have to work my way up to that. I only made like the bare minimum number of bathrooms, and we're gonna have to add some more later on. At least Cole, the non-legacy heir, has like the nicest room ever, and he's gonna move out soon. But this next bedroom upstairs, this one belongs to the grandparents. So this is Jingle's room. Jingle's the previous heir, and she's got a husband named Marvin, or Martin. Oh geez, I always forget his name. I don't know why. I think it's Marvin, but I always like second guess myself. Marvin and Jingle live here in this pretty blue room. It's like kind of blue and icy because she's supposed to be like an ice fairy princess type of person. And eventually, once we have kids, I'll turn Cole's room and the empty bedroom upstairs into the kids' rooms. I just don't have any babies yet, so there's no need to like furnish a nursery. I don't really want to be wasting my money on that stuff. But as you can see, there's not a lot of furniture, but there is a lot of potential with the upstairs, and it's just gonna be like a slow burn, us trying to fill it all out and finish everything up over time. But anyway, we are just about done with the speed build portion of the video now, so I'm just putting in some last minute touches and like spending the last of our simoleons. I'm redoing Flame's room again, trying to add some more furniture and like, you know, dressers, fake closets, that kind of stuff, just to fill in some last little bits of space. And what I want to do now is go back into game, and I want to give you a tour of the finished product so I can show you better what it looks like, because I know it's hard to see when I'm like jumping around with the camera so much, and I had to cut a few bits of this out because the build's already so long. But as a reminder, I built it here on the Sapphire Shores lot in Sulani. It's 126,833 simoleons, and it's actually not even on the gallery yet because I was embarrassed. I didn't want to post it yet. But here is an overview of the finished product. So I'll kind of give you like a little wraparound tour of the building. I'm really excited about the potential with the back. I think that once we have all this patio space filled out, it's gonna be fantastic. It's just not really yet. And then over here on the right side, this is where you enter into the house. I'll give you like a top-down overview for the ground floor first. This is one of the parts that I did off camera because I was struggling so much with this, and even now I'm like really mad about how the lighting is glitching. It wasn't doing that before, but it's doing that inside here. We've got this like kind of cool 2-story entryway by the front door. There's a bathroom right here. If you come further forward, we have a little breakfast nook. We have the kitchen that I was telling you about earlier. This is going to become a laundry room, and then this is going to be the office. So, oh, we do have a computer still. Oh, great. Just perfect. Down this way, we have a hallway. This has all of those family photos I was telling you about. And this is gonna be the gym, and this is gonna be the art studio once I've got some more money. I was really excited about this accent wall with like the yellow checks, so I put that there. This is the dining room. We have a piano next to it and like a little table. At first I wanted to have a bar over here, and I had one before, but when I shrunk the house and when I ran out of money, I had to get rid of it. But I would like to put a bar back right in this space once I have some more money. I do have like this little closet space. This is so I can have space for the decor box. And then we have the living room over here. I really like how this rug turned out. I think that's kind of the right color scheme for this. It has like the energy of this rug, but it's not too neon. When you go up this main staircase, it takes you into the hallway. Honestly, just a lot of nothing in the hallway. But over here, we have the imaginary friends room and their ensuite bathroom. We have the new legacy heir's primary bedroom and their ensuite bathroom. We have the little brother Cole's room. This is eventually going to become the baby's room when we have one and once Cole moves out. This is like the nicest room in the house. And then over here we have Jingle's room and their ensuite bathroom, and then we have a hall bathroom that is furnished so everybody can use it. And upstairs, we have the future games room and then Nina's room. Oh God, it's just awful. There's like no furniture. I'm so sorry. This is not how I thought it was gonna go. I really thought about like bulldozing it and starting again, but I don't think it's worth it because we're gonna get there. It's just gonna take us some time. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna link the playlist for the Legacy Challenge down below in case you wanted to go back and watch it. It's actually a good time to start watching because now that we have the new house, that's like episode 1 again, you know? Each generation is kind of like its own mini-series and we're officially starting the new mini-series right now. Thank you for watching and for putting up with me throughout this whole video, and I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow, okay? Bye everybody. Do you also do this with your legacy builds? I feel like it's not normal to like completely finish them anyway, right? Because it's always a work in progress. You're always adding to them, right? Right? I'm not just telling myself that.